Can you hear me now?
I can.
Oh, good. Why am I signed in twice? Can you hear me
I'm
now?
not sure. It looks like you're trying to sign in again too, so I don't know.
I don't know. Well, the one with my mugshot, leave that one.
It is 7 o'clock. BCTV does start recording at 7, and they request that while you're speaking, if you can keep your face centered so those at home can see you. And Peter, we do have 4 commissioners. It looks like we have just 4, which is a quorum. So if anyone's going to recuse themselves from anything, let us know that that's your intention, because we'll probably have to table that item to another meeting unless another commissioner shows up.
You have 7 o'clock on yours. I'm not quite there yet.
Recording in
I'm always
progress.
early compared to you.
No problem. Katie, you all set?
Yes, we are recording.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Peter Basserman. I am the chairman of the Branford Inland Wetland Commission. Today is September 12th, 2024. It is now 7 o'clock. This is a regular meeting of the Branford Inland Wetland Commission. The meeting is being conducted in accordance with Public Act 22-3 using the Zoom platform. As Jamie Frederick said, please make sure that your face appears in the screen when speaking. The agenda for tonight's meeting was filed September 11th. This replaces a draft agenda that was filed September 6th. I hope I said September 11th. The meeting material is in the town's on the town's website in its Dropbox for inland wetland material, and the access information regarding that website and the material is on the town's website. Does the town staff have any changes to the material on the agenda this evening?
No,
Okay.
just to the point I made earlier, but also if we can do a roll call vote, or a roll call just to confirm who's here. Or did we do that?
Yeah. That's next on my list here. No, we didn't do that yet. We'll do that now. Commissioner Gorkowski.
Commissioner Goklowski, present.
Commissioner Amrad.
Commissioner Ormrod, present.
Commissioner Begeman.
Commissioner Begeman, present.
Commissioner Basserman, present. Katie, are we expecting any others? I know Suzanne will not be here.
This is it.
Okay.
Oh, no. Yeah, this is it.
This is it. Okay. First item on the agenda is the minutes for approval from August 22nd. Again, it's on the website. It was mailed to the commissioners.
Yeah,
Somebody have
go
one.
ahead. But before we make a motion, this is Commissioner Begeman. I saw what I think are two typos, and I thought maybe we could correct them. And then maybe approve them if people didn't find things. So on the first page, down toward the bottom, Commissioner P. Basserman made a motion, and then the second line, the understanding that the commission would consider a fee application for the new application if appropriate. I think that was supposed to say fee reduction. And then on the top of the second page, I think we just need to add Doug Anderson's last name. It said Doug withdrew the application, and I think we were making a policy of putting in the last name. So those are the only two things that I saw, and
Is Commissioner Basserman, any comment on those comments by Commissioner Begeman, Katie?
I can certainly go back and fix those if you wanted to include those changes in the motion to approve.
Yeah, I guess the question is, should application be changed to reduction?
Yes.
Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with those two changes. Make sense.
Okay. Then Commissioner Begeman, you want to make a motion to make those changes effective this evening so that we can vote on the minutes of August 22nd this evening?
sure. This is Commissioner Begeman. I make a motion that with the changes in under number 2A1 or I, we change fee application to fee reduction, and in the next, under where it says motion carry, that we change, where we add Doug Anderson's last name, Anderson, to that sentence, and with those changes, and make a motion that we approve the Thursday, August 22nd, regularly scheduled meeting minutes.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. I second Commissioner Begeman's request to change the verbiage in the minutes.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Gorkowski? Vote, we'll vote. Commissioner Begeman?
Commissioner Begeman, aye.
Commissioner Amrad?
Commissioner Ormrod, aye.
Commissioner Basserman, aye. Okay. Application for review, item number 2, inland wetland 240701, 34 Howard Avenue, creating a front wall parking area and landscaping. Jamie, can you provide an update if there's any new material? I do note that there is a staff report on this item in the Dropbox.
Yeah, Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So some revised materials have been submitted shortly before the last meeting, which I hadn't been able to fully look at, and the town engineer wasn't able to look at. So since then, I've given it some more review. I've touched base with the town engineer and drafted a staff report for consideration at this evening's meeting. I think everyone should be able to see the site plan, the forward part of the site plan where the activity is proposed. Just as a quick reminder, here's the parcel with the house, deck, and then there's a slope down, and there's a wetland slash water course that runs, that daylights pretty much at the rear eastern corner of the property. And they're looking to do some changes to the front portion of the property with some low retaining walls, parking areas, and drainage. The dashed line here is the 100-foot upland review. So unless there's any questions for the applicant or in regards to the site plan, I don't know if anyone had a chance to look at the staff report prior to this evening, but if you want, we can look at it now.
Yeah, why don't you post that staff report, Jamie?
So just kind of already touched base, wetlands are off-site. One of the early on concerns was erosion controls, which I think have been satisfactorily addressed. Grading comments about, basically they're trying to grade and have everything surface flow towards the road rather than towards the wetland. They are proposing some landscaping. I believe that the proposed project would require a variance, or at least a variance, and approval from planning and zoning potentially. The town engineer has reviewed the materials and has no further comments in terms of inland wetlands slash watercourse review. So possible conditions for consideration that I thought would be appropriate for the project are an initial erosion control inspection prior to land disturbance, final inspection after site stabilization is completed, and any modifications to the site plan must be reviewed by the agency or its duly authorized agent, along with the standard conditions and general provisions of all permits. Any questions?
Jamie, Commissioner Goklowski, with this particular project, from what I see, the majority of the majority of the approval is coming from planning and zoning and not us. It's this is not really hitting the wetlands at all because it's in the front part of the property, right?
I think from a wetland standpoint, this is arguably a minor project, given that they are proposing to have the area they're working drain in the opposite direction.
Okay.
So my main concern was the erosion controls to protect the wetland area and, trying to hopefully get out ahead of any future modifications that might be needed for approvals down the line. But of course, if anything changes, condition number 2 would address the fact that it has to come back for a review,
Okay.
particularly if anything's changing with the direction of the drainage or something like that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
This is Commissioner Bassman. Jamie, with the plantings, any concerns about survivability?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. I don't think the plantings are necessarily a big factor relative to the wetlands. And I think that the homeowner is going to be vested in survivability because it's a big aspect of the project. I think that this is them trying to, I guess the only concern I would have is long-term site stabilization.
I raise it, Commissioner Bassman, I raise it just for consistency standpoint. If minor landscape issues, we don't require monitoring reports and things like that, then that's fine. That was my only issue here, to make sure that we essentially on a record say that this is a minor activity.
I see your point. So yeah, I think generally speaking, as far as the monitoring or something like that with plantings, the commission generally requires that when it's closer proximity to the wetlands. In this case, all plantings are between the house and the road. And again, this is the 100-foot upland review area. So all plantings are about 90 feet or greater away from the wetlands. So I don't think it would align with past practice to require monitoring.
This is Commissioner Bassman. Any other questions from the commission regarding, let's see, 240701?
No.
Any commissioner want to make a motion regarding inland wetland 240701?
Commissioner Ormrod, I'll make a motion to approve inland wetland application 240701, 34 Howard Ave. The retaining wall, front walk, parking areas, plantings at the front of the home. With the possible conditions for consideration as outlined in the staff report prepared, well, I guess revised September 6, 2024. Possible conditions are: 1, contacting the wetland department to request inspection site meetings for the following: initial erosion control inspection, final inspection, and 2, any modifications to the site plan, along with the standard conditions and general provisions in the issuance of all permits.
And is there a second out there?
Commissioner Goklowski, I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All right, Commissioner Goklowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Begeman,
Commissioner Begeman, aye.
Commissioner Armrod,
Aye. Commissioner Ormrod, aye.
Commissioner Basserman, aye. That application is, permit is now approved.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. Yep. Enforcement activities, cease and correct 240901 and the NOV associated with 9 High Plains Road, regrading resulting in sedimentation of the pond on the property known as 40 Hickory Hill Lane. And this is now a show cause hearing as a result of that cease and correct. Can you provide an update for us, Jamie?
Jamie Frederick, in the wetland agent. Yeah, so a cease and correct order was issued per the discussion at the last meeting. And we've gotten a very timely response. A soil scientist has been hired and has started an investigation and submitted some materials. I'm in the wrong folder. That's why none of this is making sense. Actually, okay. But I believe the soil scientist is here and can maybe give some an update on their findings from their preliminary inspection while I look for the correct materials.
Hello, everyone. This is George Logan, Rema Ecological Services, and I have been hired to assist with this particular NOV. Just 3 things I'll quickly talk about, and then if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I did inspect the property back, I think, on August 27th, which happened to be my anniversary, but anyhow. I looked at the actual site, made a few recommendations to the owner. One of the recommendations was for removal of some silt that had accumulated by the catch basin on the roadway, which is the one apparently that receives the water that goes across, and then finally it gets to the pond. We can discuss how that gets to the pond. That's kind of still a little bit of a question mark. Number 2, I did go to the 40 Huntington Drive property and investigated the pond. Actually, it's a small pond, as you know, and in a larger pond further downstream. I collected a sample. There was a couple of reasons for that. First, I wanted to get a little bit of baseline as to what's going on. But some things are not affected by sediment or fines in the sediment. some of the nutrients. For instance, nitrogen is not particularly associated with sediments. I wanted to see what was going on as far as the fact that the watershed is somewhat suburbanized. Obviously, the results came back a few days ago, and those are the ones that I actually submitted to town staff, and it shows nothing really surprising as far as metals and nitrogen is concerned. That's typical of what I would expect in a suburbanized watershed. But of course, we did have turbidity and total suspended solids were rather high. And also what I did is I took a sample just for a few of these parameters, especially turbidity and total suspended solids at the outlet of the pond. As you probably know, the outlet has an intermittent stream associated with it, which flows off-site to apparently some wetlands, my understanding is. So the solution here is obviously we have to make sure that the source is taken care of. And so some efforts have been taken with regards to that. And I'll let the owners speak about that in a couple of minutes. As you probably have heard before, when you have a sedimentation event like this, what happens is that there's some residuals that are left in the conveyance system, which will continue to flush out over the next few storms. So that's one concern. But the source is being taken care of, so we will not have additional sediment that's going to be exported from the site. The silt bag within the catch basin, the one that received all the sediment, is being maintained, I'm told, which is good. And I've received some pictures showing that the road has been cleaned out next to the catch basin. Part of the reason for doing the sampling, water quality sampling, was to provide some information to a company that will tailor make a specific flocculant log or a series of them, which are to enhance the situation. So basically, if you know what a flocculant is, it's a particular formulation which allows for water that has fines in it, for the fines to precipitate out and to be sealed in the bottom of a pond. I've used this particular company before with great success in another similar situation in Manchester, Connecticut. They're out of Arizona, so I've been in communication with them. What they have requested, in addition to the laboratory data that I provided, is to collect a gallon of water and send it to Arizona. Believe it or not, that's where they're located. Which then they'll have their chemist look at it and formulate the specific flocculant for this application. And the reason for that is they're cognizant of the fact that this is a regulated resource, that there's a stream and wetlands down gradient. Even though it's an intermittent stream, there's still aquatic organisms probably that are residing there. So the formulation has to be sensitive to that. The issue at this point is that in order to get a representative sample, we can't do it today. There has to be a rain event. So looking at the potential weather data, it says that sometime within the next 10 days or so, we will have a precipitation event. And at the tail end of that precipitation event, which probably will, again, resuspend some of the sediment, we'll be able to collect the sample. And then fast forward to the next meeting, hopefully we'll have some ideas for the flocculant. Typically what happens is you get the flock logs, are about a foot long, 8 inches or so wide. You can string them up, several in a place in the series, and you put them in flowing water so that the chemical, which is usually aluminum based, is released and it gloms to the silt, and then it precipitates down to the bottom of the pond. And then over time, that seals completely, so there's no resuspension that happens. So we will probably put some flock logs in the inlet which comes to the small pond, which is off the road. And then there is a pipe that goes between the small pond and the larger pond, which is perfect because it's long enough so you can put the string of flock logs there, and they will take care of business. So that's kind of where we're at this point as a remedial activity for ensuring that we can get some clarity of water and the regulated resource for that property owner.
This Commissioner Basserman, do you need deep approval for the flocculant as a permit?
I don't think so. We did need one back in the last one that I did in Manchester. I think it's an expected remedial procedure that we have, but I will check so that I can answer that question.
Because I guess there's a follow-up. There's no herbicide material in the flock log. Is that what I'm to understand?
That's correct.
Okay.
All it is, it's a aluminum-based formulation that has the ability to have the sediment glom on it and then basically allow it to precipitate. And now what I'll do at the next meeting, or actually at least a week or so before, I'll provide a little more additional technical information on how flocculants work. But this is something that's been used for many, many years. But the issue is you can't use just any formulation. You have to use a formulation that's specific to the chemistry of the water that you're trying to treat.
Okay, thank you.
And I see here
This is
that
Commissioner Begeman.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, Commissioner Begeman, just a question, and I may have missed this when you spoke at the beginning. So it seems that after you evaluated it, doing nothing was not an option. In other words, that stuff wouldn't eventually go through and settle out on its own, that there has to be remediation. Correct.
And these are fine sediments. And what my experience has been, even when you have a small watershed like this one, what happens is that there's residual fine sediment, not only within the first pond and also the second one, but also within the watershed, the conveyance system. So every storm you have, from any storms to come, additional sediment keeps moving, and it will take a while for it to pass. So the idea is if you have a flocculant in position for all those storms, that as they come by, it's basically allows for this sediment to precipitate. And it's really what we're talking about here is it's silt and clay fraction. It's not sand. It's just a fine fraction that has been causing the problem. Because one of the things you will see is that in the interstorm periods, and this is something that I think staff has also documented, we have, if you don't have, say, storms for a couple of weeks, progressively the water gets more clear and more clear, and then you get a storm and boom, it looks like chocolate again. So that's what we try to do, is to try to get the flocculant to work during those events so that we don't have keep this happening. And of course, as you know, sediment is a fertilizer to aquatic systems. So that results also potentially in algal blooms. And even though this is a pond which is within a suburbanized environment, so I don't expect that it's, not eutrophic. It probably is, but still, I did see frogs. I did see a number of organisms that were using the pond, even with a sill, which was kind of interesting. They don't seem to mind, but obviously the productivity of the pond is going to be diminished if we don't do something about it. So that was the idea. And we're of course also trying to be good neighbors to the gentleman who owns the pond, and not just say, we're taking care of the source, so we don't have to do anything else. I think that's the proper thing to do.
This is Commissioner Basserman again. What's the effective lifespan for those flock logs?
It really depends on the flow dynamics. The more flow you have, the more they're expended.
Right.
In the situation in Manchester, which was basically a stormwater management pond. Um, the flock logs lasted a season, so several months.
Gotcha.
This is Commissioner Goklowski, Mr. Logan. Based on what you've seen so far, do you think this is a scenario that is going to naturally clear itself up, or is there going to have to be some major remediation?
No, I don't think major remediation is needed. A major remediation would be needed if you had a volume of sediment that was extractable from a pond. And of course, we've had situations like that in my career where, you know, you have a slug of sediment, which you can actually measure the bottom of the pond of several inches, and then that's a different scenario. Here, from just poking around the pond, basically we have a very fine, almost imperceptible film that's covering, you know, the bottom of the pond, both ponds, and so that's not something you can remove. So the idea is to use the flocculant to precipitate the sediment, the silts and the clays that are coming in, and then those will be sealed in the bottom. And once they're sealed in the bottom, they're not going to resuspend.
Okay, thank you.
This is Commissioner Basson. Any other commission questions before we turn it over to the owner?
Jamie Frederick in the wetland agent. I just want to kind of point out a kind of orientation a little bit. So this is GIS map from the town's GIS system. The catch basin in question where the material entered the system is this one here. And then the two ponds are located down here off of Hickory Hill Lane. Pretty sure it's Lane. And so there's the inlet into the upper pond, and then this looks like it's like a bit of a water course. Yeah, no, I guess it did. And then there's the other inlet going in to the lower pond. The question was raised as to how the water from this catch basin gets to these ponds, and that is a very good question. So the information that we have in our GIS is not always accurate. Sometimes pipes are shown going the opposite direction than what they actually go. If we were to trust the lines here, it looks like it discharges into a wetland that's located in between these two properties off of High Plains and Hickory Hill, and then would go through a water course, get picked up by a culvert, and tie in through these catch basins here and discharge the ponds. Alternatively, I do not know. I did look in the catch basins that were available. I couldn't look in this one because it had the inlet protection installed when I went out there. I didn't see an obvious pipe connection or a pipe coming in from this direction, but it's possible that there's one because of the way the catch basin is configured. You can't really see that back wall very well, or at least I couldn't, given the weather conditions of the day. So it gets to the wetland one of those two ways. It's my understanding that this wetland area has kind of been looked at and there is no obvious deposition of material there. If there's any further comments from either any of the property owners or their representatives on that, that might be helpful for the commission to know.
Yes, if I may, Ms. Frederick, George Logan, Reme Ecological. So I did investigate that wetland near the outlet, but I wasn't aware where the outlet was. So standing at the property boundary and looking out to the neighboring property, I didn't see anything. However, earlier this afternoon, I looked a little more carefully at the 2016 LiDAR information from Connecticut Eco. And I think it's quite obvious that the contours show that indeed the water most likely goes between those two properties there on Hickory Drive, and then must be another inlet that takes it directly to the pond. So I think that's probably the conveyance system in all likelihood.
Okay. But you didn't observe any sediment deposited along that area?
I did not, but that doesn't mean there wasn't some. That's pretty, as you've probably seen, it's pretty dense in there. So I was just checking through the property boundary and I didn't see anything that would have raised any, but it could be that I didn't see it because it was a little further away.
Okay, but
So
nothing of concern.
nothing concerned, but again, could be something that could be investigated between now and the next meeting.
Jamie, Commissioner Goklowski, this area where you say you're not sure there's any piping where you checked, have you called Gary Zielinski from Public Works? He has he knows where all the pipes and the drainage, and because they have a map to clean out all the catch basins for
Yeah,
the
I mean, I could go out with somebody from Public Works or engineering and ask them to pop the grate, and I might be able to get a better look.
because
But
there
I've
has
not
to be
done
some
that.
type of piping that's going under that road.
I mean, the information that he uses as far as mapping is this information that's in the GIS. But like I said, I didn't see a pipe tying in over here. And it certainly looks like there's connectivity over here.
Yeah.
It's just that it daylights and no, so it's not mapped very well.
Okay.
So that's kind of a little bit of orientation for everyone.
Is it
Stephen Bisserman, FaceTime
time
video.
to hear from the owner at this point? I'm at a meeting, but I got to call you back.
I think that would be appropriate.
Is the owner still online?
Yeah. Hi, guys. Darren Capabianco.
Darren and Tom are both there. Yeah.
My father's on Tom Capabianco.
I guess the question I would have is, this is our second meeting on this. So at what point, because we have the special conditions for planning and zoning coming up, which we just had the A2 survey done on the property, which the town did want. So that was just completed. Darren is filling out his paperwork for him and his fiance on the house to get that filed so we could get a hearing on that. But at what point, I don't want to say what year, but are we able to pull a permit to do work on this house? Now that we've already hired, I think we've been more than receptive to whatever the town wants. We've gone above and beyond so far. So at what point are we able to walk in there again and not go to the counter and say, oh, you're the guys with the soil erosion? Yep, that's us. So at what point are we able to pull a permit?
Jamie Frederick, an agent. This does not prohibit you from pulling permits for the property. So at this point, we had talked about stabilizing the site, and it's my understanding that you've started to place sod. I have not had a chance to swing by the site. So maybe a quick update on where you are in that process, whether you've actually started placing the sod or if you're just prepping for it. But yeah, as far as work on the house or anything like that, this process does not hold that up. If you're looking to put like an addition on or anything like that, I would just be looking to make sure that you're maintaining those erosion controls until you have site stability.
So, Jamie, so if we go down there, or is it still going to get blocked by planning and zoning? I know that's not you guys, but
I can't answer that question.
Okay.
I don't know what their process is.
Okay, so as far as inland wetlands, we're doing again what we have to do and above and beyond that. So as far as the update that I had updated in the last meeting we had, it's right now it's still on schedule. The weather's holding out from a rain point of view. So we had topsoil delivered and spread. It just finished that. That's just about done. They put the underground sprinkler systems on the entire property. That was finished. Should have been today. We've been out of town in New Jersey on jobs, so we haven't got a chance to get there. The truckload of sod is getting cut on Sunday, delivering the first truckload of 20,000 square feet of sod on Monday. The second truckload is coming in Tuesday. We have 4 or 5 laborers lined up, along with the landscape, the head of a landscape company, Brian. So he's going to be doing that. So our plan is Tuesday, Wednesday to get as much of that 20,000 square feet laid out in the front and in the slope in the back and get that pinned, which would stop, I don't want to say 100%, but it's going to stop a lot. It's going to take care of us because pretty much right now it's mostly dirt. So that's our game plan for this week, what's going on, and then next week.
Anything else, Jamie?
So I think logistically, appropriate thing would be to determine when this is best to come back with that additional information on the flocculant material, and go from there. And I think in addition to having some supplemental information on the flocculant material and the specifics on that, kind of an estimated duration of time that's likely to take. So like when it would be installed and how long it would likely need to be monitored for and what a good time to check back in would be. So I guess I'd probably ask George Logan what time he thinks he would be able to have those materials available. Would the September 26th meeting be a good time, or is that gonna be too soon? I think you're muted.
George.
George Logan, Rema Ecological. As far as providing some information, general information for the flocculant and sensitivity to wetlands and watercourses, I can do that prior to the 26th meeting. I'll be at the 26th meeting at any rate for the other project. But I will also ask the distributor and my manufacturer to see if they can give me a little more information of the chemistry of what they might anticipate will be involved for these particular flocculants. And if that's available, then I will be submitting that. I will also submit some photographs, and even though I did submit the Phoenix Environmental Lab, I might give you a paragraph or two kind of analyzing what I'm looking at here so that you can have that in the record.
This is Commissioner Basserman. If you could also give us an estimate on what you think an appropriate monitoring period would be to determine that this was a successful solution.
Absolutely.
This is Commissioner Begeman. Just a question. So right now, the property is bare soil with erosion control. It was never seeded in this interim period.
No, we had the discussion at the last hearing, and Jamie was able to get us that we were not allowed on the property. We told the gentleman who owns the pond, because he drives by maybe 30 or 40 times a day to see what's going on. And we were told to stay off the property. Jamie gave us permission. And the last hearing, I gave my schedule of I was able to line up between the people with the topsoil and the sprinkler company, because I need the sprinklers with sod underground. And then we're on the schedule that we were. Nothing was done prior to the last. This is the schedule that we had, and we're adhering to that schedule.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Commissioner Basserman. For Mr. Logan, did those flock logs come, fully assembled from wherever they're made, and you just have to install them?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe I'll have some pictures from the other projects so you can kind of see what they look like.
Commissioner Goklowski, Mr. Logan, do you feel the installation of the topsoil that they plan on doing is going to be a vast improvement of what the current situation is at the moment?
I believe so. I think my understanding is that to the extent that you can, the sod obviously is a very quick solution. You don't have to wait for germination or anything like that. And it's the one that's closest to the road, which is, the road is protected pretty well. I looked at that, the erosion, the perimeter erosion controls, and those have to be monitored and maintained, obviously. But I think that's the best solution. And I'm looking at the weather. We might have a little bit of rain on Thursday, but then we don't have any more rain until Thursday the 26th. So I think that's good timing on part of of the weather to allow for this to happen so that we have much less exposed soil. And then I think the rest of it, I think will probably be seeded and or hayed. I'm not sure, but that's something we can certainly discuss.
So, the best thing right now is to make sure that the property owner has the ability to get this sod installed as soon as possible to prevent any further possible.
Export from the site of any sediment.
So, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Commissioner Basserman. Jamie, as a show cause hearing, can we just extend this then to the next meeting, or do we need to take a roll call vote on administration here?
It can be an announcement that it's being continued to the September 26th meeting.
Does any commissioner have issue with extending cease and correct 240901 and the NOV to the September 26th regular meeting of this commission?
This is Commissioner Goklowski. I don't have a problem with extending it, but I would like to see at the next meeting, by that time, is the property owner still on?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm here.
And by the time the next meeting comes around, sir, you're anticipating of having this sod installed?
Yes.
It's getting installed. Yeah, it's getting installed Tuesday, Wednesday,
Okay.
based on the sod farm next week.
Jamie, if we could get a staff report from you by the next meeting with the installation and possibly a couple pictures of the property to include with this, so we can move this along forward without dragging this too long. Because it seems that the property owner is trying to take care of the situation. I just can't see dragging it out.
Yeah, if the property owner is can contact me once the sod has been placed, and either if we can meet out there or if you're okay with me just stopping by and taking a look, I should be able to complete that.
Yeah, this is Darren Capabianco. Jamie, I'll email you pictures as the sod is complete or in progress so that you have them immediately.
Okay.
All righty. We'll see you all back on the 26th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up, cease and correct 240902, 17182 Leeds Island Road, clearing and earth disturbance permit. And this would be the start of a show cause hearing for 240902. Jamie, where are we at on this?
Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. So I've issued a cease and correct order. I did not have an email or a phone number, so it did it the old-fashioned way only by snail mail. And I've not heard from anyone as of yet. So I just want to ask real quick, is anyone on the call here to represent somebody in regards to the cease and correct order? All right, I'm not seeing any action or hearing anything. So with that being said, oh, did you mean to raise your hand, Peter?
Wait a minute. No, I'm looking at the list.
All right, I'm gonna lower your hand.
The only thing that's listed that I don't recognize is Paul.
I think Paul's probably here for something later. I'm not sure who. I think yes.
He's
So
Beacon Hill, I believe.
yeah, hard to confirm without a last name. But okay, so I'm not hearing anyone. I don't think it's appropriate to continue this forever if we don't hear from anyone. But the address I had on file was the address of the property, which is undeveloped. So I think my recommendation to the commission would be to table and continue this matter to the September 26th meeting, and I can resend the cease and correct order to the property owner. The property owner is an LLC, so I would also send it to the agent on file for the LLC in hopes that we get a response. And that follow-up letter would go out on Monday because I'm out of the office tomorrow. So unless anyone feels differently or has questions about doing that.
This is Commissioner Besserman, and we have no time frame boundary here, correct? This can get extended
Right.
at this point.
Statutorily, there's no
Okay.
issue with doing that, and I think it's somewhat appropriate, you know, given that I don't know if the property
Yep.
owner has received the order. And I don't have anything that I am at this time aware of that I am concerned will get significantly worse in that time frame. So that is my recommendation. Is that how the commission would like for me to proceed?
I don't think we have too many options here, quite frankly. No commissioner feels
Just for
differently that
clarification,
from what
Brent-
Amy recommended.
iPhone, you're not here for this item, are you?
This is Commissioner Begeman. Jamie, you said there's no phone number anywhere?
No, I'll double check the LLC listing information to see if there's any numbers there. There's a mailing address for the agent. I don't think there's any phone numbers, but I'll double check, and if there is, I will also pursue that option.
Great.
But
Nothing on the property card record, Jamie?
no, we don't have phone numbers. The place where I usually get phone numbers from is building permit applications.
Gotcha.
Given that there's no
Okay.
development of the property, there's nothing on record.
Right. Okay, the 240902 show cause hearing has been extended to the next meeting of September 26th. In the wetland, 240802, 195 Cherry Hill Road extension, new single-family home with an in-ground pool. Possible agent review.
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So this project is one of the lots of a subdivision that was approved a couple years ago by the commission. Maybe it was last year, 2022. And that initial subdivision permit was required that specific lots come back, shall have inland wetland applications submitted for review of the individual lot development. No work is to occur on these lots until such approval has been issued. So this application is for the development of the lot with a single family house and a swimming pool. It's a little bit more disturbance than what was shown on the subdivision plans. However, most of the activity is still a decent distance from the wetland. The pool is definitely the closest thing. They do show stormwater management associated with the house and the pool. So as soon as I can figure out which one it is, I can share it real quick with you so you can see it. And I was just thinking, it seems like something that wouldn't be out of the realm of agent review, but given the fact that it's part of the subdivision and whatnot, and particularly given that it deviates from the limits of disturbance shown on the subdivision, I thought I would bring it to your attention. Okay. So, I don't know if you guys remember Cherry Hill. I unfortunately did not throw it in the subdivision. I'll see if the first page, no. I didn't throw in the subdivision map. But this is, for those that are familiar or recall, Cherry Hill, 175 Cherry Hill Road extends from the end of Cherry Hill Road, and it kind of goes up to Autumn Ridge with a little bit of an undeveloped connection to Autumn Ridge. So this is on the north side. This is the northeast lot close, and it abuts developed properties on Autumn Ridge. So there's 3 farm ponds located off site. This is the 100-foot upland review area from the pond. The ponds do have a drainage component at this day and age. So the closest activity you can see is 79.2 feet to the edge of the patio around the pool, and they're proposing crushed stone storage underneath that patio area. Granted, they do have, let's see if I can find the erosion control plan. They do have grading that is closer at about 65 feet. And this is the existing clearing line, and they're modifying it in this corner over here. So I still have some questions that I'm working out with the applicant, but if I get answers that are satisfactory to those questions, are you okay with me reviewing this administratively? Or do you want to see it again at that September 26th meeting?
This is Commissioner Gopowski. If the subdivision was previously approved by the commission, and I know you well enough, Jamie, that if you see something that is not totally what should be, you would not approve it administratively. You would bring it back to the commission. So I feel strongly enough to leave it in your hands to make that decision.
This is Commissioner Bassman. I'm okay with and agree with Commissioner Gokowski. The only thing that I think I'd like you to pay particular attention to is the filter system associated with that pool. Obviously, when the subdivision was approved, I say obviously, my guess is when the subdivision was approved, we didn't know that there was going to be a pool on this particular lot. And to the extent that a pool needs to be emptied through the waste port on the filter, where does that wastewater go?
Sure. We do have standard language that we use to address that, but I can ask some questions just to kind of help upfront that and make sure that everyone's on the same page. Yes, so this is a bigger house than what was drawn on the subdivision plans. The subdivision plan didn't have the pool, and the subdivision plan had all grading ending right at the 100-foot upland review. So it is definitely a little bit different, but I don't think it's egregiously different. Okay, so I'll add that to the list of questions that I'm working out with the applicant.
Yeah, it could be a saltwater filter system as opposed to a DE or a sand, and we ought to be aware of that.
Okay.
This Commissioner Gokowski. Jamie, is this I'm trying to picture the property. Is this the old Cosgrove property up there?
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so?
So there was a property that was owned by Cosgrove that was developed a couple years ago.
Yeah, but the Cosgrove estate was split up into a bunch of properties.
Yeah, I don't know if this was part of property that was owned by Cosgrove at one point. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Because I know there was a pond on the old Cosgrove estate in the back. There was a pretty big pond back there. So that's what I was thinking.
I think I know what property you're talking about, and I think it's a different one, but I can't swear to it.
Okay.
So I hope this is Commissioner Bassman. Hopefully this is the last time we'll see this, given the fact that Jamie will be in contact with the owner and make sure that things are appropriate. Inland Wetland 240902, one of the revised exhibit 8, 1517 Beacon Hill Road, age restricted housing development. Commissioner Armard, are we recusing ourselves on this particular application?
Yeah, yes, I will be.
So at that point, we only have 3 commissioners.
So I think we're gonna have to table this
I
item.
assume, Jamie, we can't deal with this.
Yeah,
We
unfortunately,
gotta
we're
table
gonna
this, correct?
table it to September 26th.
Okay. We have no other business. And we have a couple agent reviews that have already happened and been approved. I guess correspondence and announcements. Jamie, I'll leave that in your hands here.
So Rockland Wetlands Restoration invite. You guys may have noticed you got an invite in your email. I just wanted to clarify for anyone that might be confused. There was an inland wetland permit issued for that project, and so basically, if you want to go see all of the hard work that they've done, they're inviting the commissioners out to that event. Completely up to you whether you want to attend. It is not a meeting. SIPWIG Symposium, that's the Connecticut Invasive Plant Working Group, is October 29th. If you're interested in going, let us know as soon as possible, like this week or early next week. So we can maybe squeak in under early bird pricing. And then the Cacuic annual meeting.
Jamie, where is that?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I think
No
it's in
problem. I'll look it up.
Yukon.
I'll look it up.
It's at UConn. It's at UConn.
And
Oh.
what time is that?
It's an all-day thing, October 29th, like during the day. It's a weekday.
Okay.
The information is available if you click it on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Web-
And then same with the Cacuic annual meeting. This is a really early advance, but it's a Saturday, so I figured I'd let everyone know it's a good one. So just so you can save the date if you're interested. You don't have to let us know just yet if you're interested in going to that one. But just as a save the date. And then as another quick announcement, the regulation revisions are effective today, so any application received today, which we didn't have any, or going on, will use those new regs. However, any applications that were received before today, so any of the applications that were for receipt tonight or are ongoing from before that, fall under the old regs.
This is Commissioner Basman. Jamie, do you generally, when things get approved, send out a new copy of the regs to the commission, or is that on a as needed basis?
We have, would commissioners like a paper copy of the revised regulations, or are you happy with the digital ones?
Can they be emailed?
Yeah, we can email it directly to everybody. We'll email it to everyone, and if you want a paper copy, just email Katie back and we'll make sure it gets to you. And also those latest regs will be on the website. I'm not sure if Katie was able to do it today or not, but they will be available on there very shortly.
I did not. I'll work on it tomorrow.
All right. Any other business? Did I hear something? No.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. I think we should make a note in the minutes that Commissioner Boda missed a good meeting tonight. We finished the meeting in 59 minutes.
Yeah. You're not trying to create a link between her absence and a short meeting, are you, Commissioner Goklowski?
Absolutely not. I miss having her in a meeting. I really do. But
Have a good night, guys.
Take care. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.